Welcome back to the show, everybody. We're going to cover the FTX debacle. We got John Deaton on the scene. We got Hester Peirce dissenting from the ranks at the SEC. The truth is coming out. You're going to want it. And get this, is a Ripple IPO just around the corner at Swell? We're going to talk about that and the other things we could be looking at. And Elon Musk says you won't even need a bank by the end of next year. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. And right now, I want to tell you really quickly before we get started, inside the Patreon Freedom Zone, you can go to digperspectives.com to join for less than the cost of a cup of coffee a month, ladies and gentlemen. 20 cents a day. You're going to hear the video I put in there, which I feel is a massive video you need to hear about why oil went negative a couple years ago and what it has to do with the US dollar and the XRP ledger. You're going to want every single bit of that. Click the link underneath the video or go to digperspectives.com and join us. Right here, 55 cents for XRP. We got a $1.3 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.7%. 34,100 plus for Bitcoin. We are waiting about those spot Bitcoin ETFs. Then Ethereum 1785 and change here. We see Tether now sitting at 84.4 billion plus on a market cap. XRP 54 cents. We need to stay above 52 cents. You're going to hear from two amazing technical analysts before we get out of here today, and they are pointing to the moon, baby, starting next month even. So sitting at 54 cents right now, off by 0.6 on the 24-hour, 5.5 up on the 7-day. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. We start right here. Stephen Narayoff here says, laugh out loud. You were the question that stood in the way of a Bitcoin ETF, and the question has been answered now that you financially benefit from it being approved. Payday J. That's right. Stephen Narayoff talking about Jay Clayton, the former SEC chairman here. And he's talking about in this clip, basically, yeah, it's time. Many questions stood in the way, but now it's time. Take a listen.
It's like Moby Dick, right? The great white whale sighting, and that is a Bitcoin ETF. Jay, Bitcoin soaring again, briefly over 35,000 on more reports / hope / speculation of this white whale Bitcoin ETF. Are we going to get it?
Brian, I think I've said that it's inevitable. The reason I have said it is inevitable is many of the questions that stood in the way and legitimately stood in the way of a Bitcoin ETF have been answered to what I would say is sophisticated parties and many regulators' satisfaction.
Oh boy, what a load of stuff that is. Look, here you want the simple version. Here's the short version. Short version is now that BlackRock, Fidelity, and VanEck, Invesco, right now that they all want it and they're ready for it, Jay thinks it's time, right? All of a sudden, his opinion just happens to line with not the people who wanted it when he was the SEC chairman, but it aligns now with the BlackRocks of the world. And now that they're ready for it, all of a sudden, Jay's like, yeah, you know what? It's time, everyone. It's time. Paid Wall Street puppet, right? Then there's this. You remember the LBRY case, and this is what's so disgusting about what the SEC has done here. You know, the efforts of innovators and entrepreneurs to go out here and start up a business. This was a great business and project. The LBRY was a decentralized platform for video. It was like YouTube, but decentralized. Almost makes you wonder why the SEC beat up on it. They don't serve investors, so could they have been doing some of the same kind of ETH-gate motions, free pass? Is this some kind of favoritism being shown to a larger market player like a YouTube? I don't know the answer to that, but I tell you, LBRY has certainly been crushed beyond belief because of it. And this here actually is a release of who voted for what when it came to the LBRY case. Shout out to Fred Rispoli for all he does. The LBRY vote is further evidence that Payday J, aka Coward Clay, wasn't the only sellout at the SEC. As I've mentioned, I'm betting dimes and donuts that Elad Roisman, sad Elad, also voted to sue Ripple. Mark my words, it was a 4-1 decision. And this is what it says right here. And it shows that Hester Peirce was the only one that didn't approve. And I don't know when it becomes available. It'll be after the case is over, I'm sure, as it says in the thread here. But I can tell you this. I can't wait to see how it goes. But Hester Peirce has put out a statement of dissent on LBRY, and she expresses her disdain of the actual troubling enforcement actions from the SEC itself, and as it has unsettled her. And she goes on to talk about the fact that this statement was long overdue, and about how she wasn't able to speak publicly until the case was actually closed because it was in litigation. But she absolutely did not approve of how they went about it, and goes on to say that, you know, it was completely unnecessary that they reached for $44 million in damages for remedies there, but then ended up, the court said, brought it back to $111,614, which the court actually approved. You know, for no reason. For no reason. This was not a fraudulent case, nothing even close to it. And they chose to demolish it. That's why I have to wonder, was LBRY so powerful that it was a threat to a larger player down the road, like a YouTube platform? I don't know the answer to that, but I tell you, with what I've seen out of the SEC, nothing would surprise me at this point, and it shouldn't surprise you either. Eleanor Terrace says, if this is how Hester Peirce feels about the LBRY case, I wonder what she'll come out and say about the Ripple case when it comes to an end. Great point, and I can't wait to find out either. Stuart Alderati thanks to Commissioner Peirce and says, when you see injustices like this continue in non-fraud cases while consumers wait for recourse from actual frauds, perhaps it's time to let ordinary rules of protocol go by the wayside and speak out louder and sooner, perhaps even with an amicus brief. Then John Deaton chimes in and said, dissents and open letters of criticism are great and appreciated, certainly better than nothing, but maybe it's time to get off the sidelines and take the extra step and file an amicus brief. As you know, 75,000 individual holders spoke up and had their voices heard in court. I think it's time someone inside also speak out in court. That is encouraging Hester Peirce to directly file an amicus brief against the SEC itself in a case that it shouldn't. I tell you, that does need to happen, and I hope that she goes a step further and does it. There's no question about it. And here's the one and only John Deaton right here, and we got a lot to move through, and you're going to need to see it all, so let me move quickly here. John Deaton breaks it down, what's going on with the Sam Bankman fraud case.
I love that you have those brass knuckles necklace, because, oh my goodness, this... you know, one thing I always try to tell people, to me, this is not a crypto story. This is a story of unbridled greed, unbridled hubris, and also the strongest, wealthiest people in this country. They've been abused us for so long. Silicon Valley backed this guy. They gave him their stamp of approval. And so I hope that this case brings out everything, not just one person, but everything behind him, to show that the system is not only rigged, but it's arrogant as hell.
Yep.
100%, Charles. Thanks for having me. Listen, and let me tell you, I was watching your show as usual, and you brought up the Taylor Swift effect. Unless he's got Taylor Swift coming in as a character witness, this boy is cooked. And you are 100% right. You've got two things. You've got greed of Silicon Valley and Wall Street and politics. And when you combine those two elements, which were both behind this guy, you get Bernie Madoff or you get Sam Bankman-Fried. And that's where we're at today.
It really is, and you just can't say it any better. And look, we got to move quickly because of time here today, and I want to play this whole clip because John Deaton absolutely slammed it out of the park, but we got to move. But he put it right where it is. That is what happened. So many failures along the way checkpoints that should have just been very simple due diligence that would have kicked up the fraud in this thing. Wall Street failed, Silicon Valley failed, and the SEC absolutely failed, and so did the CFTC, all awarding him licenses at the same time. Meanwhile, Tether has refuted the claims being made here against it, saying that it has not done any terrorist funding claims following the U.S. lawmakers' request for an investigation. Actually, which is the lawmakers' request that the Department of Justice hurry up and wrap up an ongoing investigation. Come on in. Thank you to Michael Branch for that. Give him a follow. And here's some quick clips from the one and only Michael S. Barr, formerly of the U.S. Treasury, architect of the Dodd-Frank Act that birthed FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council. We cite all the time, and so does Elizabeth Warren, about taking action against crypto and stablecoins. This here is now the VP of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors and former Ripple advisor. Take a listen to this quick couple clips I have for you about what is coming inside of the Fed.
I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to welcome you for the second day of this conference. This is obviously a time of great change and great promise for the payment system. The Federal Reserve plays multiple roles in the payment system, including as a supervisor of banks and financial market utilities, and as an operator of some key components of payments infrastructure. The research done by experts, including those in this room, is vital in helping us to understand what works well in the payment system and what can be done to improve it. We introduced the FedNow service in July to facilitate secure and convenient instant payments. We developed FedNow in response to a growing demand for instant payments from both households and businesses. 100 years ago, the Fed facilitated payments by moving checks across the country by train. FedNow represents new rails by which payments can keep pace with today's businesses and consumers. The Federal Reserve has now made these rails available. Banks can build on this infrastructure to provide better services for households and businesses.
Now, let me move up very quickly to this next clip here that you want to hear. And it's right here.
Stablecoins, as I have said in other remarks, need to be well regulated. When an asset is pegged to a government-issued currency, it's a form of private money. When that asset is also used as a means of payment and a store of value, it borrows the trust of the central bank. So the Federal Reserve has a strong interest in ensuring that any stablecoin offering operate within an appropriate federal prudential oversight framework.
Federal Prudential Oversight Framework. Where you heard that at? Where you heard that at? Right here. Right here on this channel is exactly what I've been saying. And is that what Tether looks like to you? Nope. Head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. And meanwhile, while that's going on, Twitter X aims to introduce full payment and financial services by the end of next year. Think of it for a moment. Let's take a look here. Let's see if we can get this to reload here. I want you to see this from Flip the Chain here. Look at this. Look at all these places and states here where they have a money transmitter license, sale of checks and money transmitter license. Right here in our state, Maryland, it's there. Look, this is moving, ladies and gentlemen. And then he goes on to say inside of here, Elon Musk wants X to be the center of your financial world, handling anything in your life that deals with money. Expect those features to launch by the end of next year, he told ex-employees during an all-hands call on Thursday, saying that people will be surprised with just how powerful it is. Now, listen to what he says, because I thought to myself, okay, this is going to start out, you'll be able to send 10, 20 bucks to one another, what have you. But listen, when I say payments, I actually mean someone's entire financial life, Musk said. According to audio of the meeting obtained by The Verge, it says, if it involves money, it'll be on our platform. Listen to what he says here. Money or securities or whatever. So it's not just like sending $20 to my friend I'm talking about, like you won't need a bank account. That's what's coming. Elon Musk gives ex-employees 1 year to replace your bank. That's what's going on. Then there's this. Ripple may announce an IPO at upcoming Ripple Swell in Dubai. We don't know the answer. Wrath of Common says here, this year's swell may be very significant. Don't know what might be announced, but there are possibilities: an IPO, a Vera license, CBDC, stablecoin tokenization, new users after a year of silence. We may gain more detail if Ripple still considers itself primarily a payment company, blockchain infrastructure company, I think Brad Garlinghouse likes to say. So this is the stuff to watch out for that's coming up. November 8th and 9th is, I believe, when Swell is. So that's what's going on there. And then as of October, as October comes to a close, technical analysts are really getting exciting. And let's take two of our favorites here very quickly. It is Dark Defender, who says, hi all, XRP monthly parabolic SAR indicator says XRP will go parabolic soon. Closing above 52 cents monthly is essential. And then pointing to $8 plus going up here to the moon, ladies and gentlemen. We love the sight of it. Then we go over to here, and it's Eggrag Crypto. XRP diamond pattern from back in March, and he's showing it again for a reason, because the charts are looking like it. They're both seeing something very similar here, and that's exciting to me when I see that. So it doesn't mean that it'll happen, right? But what it means is that these indicators are suggesting we should pay very close attention. So if you have any kind of strategies in place, you want to know to be ready to execute it, pending on what they are, right? So not financial advice from me or anyone else. You got to make sure you watch out for all of that stuff. But right now, I want to tell you to do this. Join us in the Freedom Zone. Digperspectives.com, click on Freedom Zone, or click the link underneath the video. Today, we are going to dive into one of our weekend reviews inside the Digital Perspective Mastermind group with Molly Elmore, and I discuss why oil went negative for the first time in history and BRICS gaining in 2024 80% of the world's oil production, and why the XRP ledger is designed and set up to underpin the US dollar, so we no longer need the petrodollar agreement. You are not going to want to miss that. You can go to digperspectives.com and click right here on the Freedom Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Join us inside. You're going to love it. We love you having you there. And I tell you, it costs next to nothing for us to stay in touch. And there's 0 Google ads on the videos in there, so you watch seamlessly as you move through it. And the comment section is clean. There's no scams and bots like on YouTube, so we can see a really great conversation going on in there. We absolutely love it. I'll see you inside. I'll catch all of you on the next one.